One Fergus local is trying to bring Christianity to China for the people who want it, while juggling family life and dealing with potential political issues. John Dolman is the executive director of Chinese Church Support Ministries, a non-profit organization dedicated to bringing Christianity to China.
In Canada are to manage and run a base office to spread the news throughout Canada of the plight of the church in China.
Chinese Church Support Ministries was founded in 1986 and was originally based in England. Now the organization has branched out and has several locations globally. John explains that China's Christian population is growing at an extreme rate.
Some estimates put it at 30,000 new believers a day. The more conservative estimates, mine for example, would probably be somewhere between 20 and 25,000 believers, new believers every day.
John's branch of the organization works on the printing and distribution of religious texts for use in China, as well as training new leaders.
Challenge is to train leaders. The reason that we print the material that we print and distribute it freely to these churches is that they'll be able to train new leaders.
John also runs missions trips to China with his local church, on top of the work he does for his organization. The pastor of the Fergus Pentecostal Church explains the purpose of the missions trips.
We're good with that. But yes, we've had a team go to China this past year with John for a couple of weeks, working in an orphanage there, as well as helping some of the workers there and spending time with them, teaching and just fellowship with them.
John goes to China about 3 times a year, but his wife Chris usually doesn't tag along. Chris explains what the couple times she has gone has been like.
The first time I hated the place. The second time I didn't really hate the place, but I came back and I really, I had a concern for the people that lived there. The Westerners that were working there really was where my concern was, because they're so far away from home and just quite lonely people.
Chris has led her own missions trip to China to offer support to the Western workers there. She also mentions what it is like having John away and having one of her sons and her grandchildren living in China.
It's a long way away, but it's not as far away as a few years ago it would have been, because there is Skype, so we can talk on Skype, we can talk on the phones. The most difficult times, I think, are when there's sickness, when one of the kids is poorly or whatever. And then I feel a very long way away.
Missionaries sometimes face challenges for the work they are doing in China. Openly spreading Christianity or promoting worship in large groups can see them facing arrest or deportation.
So the Western concept of the megachurch, sort of 1,000 people plus, is not really viable at all in China, because once you reach 1,000, the government shut you down.
The organization also struggles to keep up with the high growth of Christianity and aren't always able to accommodate the high demand for resources and literature.
He works with a large organization, so there are actually several countries involved with the work that they do, and then each of those countries takes kind of a piece of the work that mission is doing. So John's is primarily literature, so they print a lot of books, they distribute Bibles, they do all that kind of stuff.
But despite the challenges, John feels dedicated to the organization's cause and feels that the people at the local church support him and his continuing efforts in China.
The positive side of the church in China is that when you put the church underground, it's like putting it in a pressure cooker, and it grows phenomenally.
For Spoke TV, I'm Richard Keast.